Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I'm going to tell you all about the brand new Netflix original, The Highwaymen. So The Highwaymen stars Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner as the Texas Rangers that brought down Bonnie and Clyde. It also stars Kathy Bates as Governor Ferguson, who's actually the first female governor of Texas. If you can believe that, this is the 1930s, and actually her first term as governor was in the late 20s. So she was a very interesting character. Kathy Bates is not on camera much, but when she is, she's very good. It's been a while since I've seen her in anything, and she was really perfect for this role. But Harrelson and Costner are really good together. Now, what I will say about this movie, and this is going to be a spoiler-free review, is I had kind of the wrong expectations for it. I kind of was wanting to get not True Detective, but kind of a True Detective buddy vibe, and that does not exist. Woody Harrelson is a very, very different character, and that's my fault for wanting that. I loved that first season of that show and just wanted to taste it again. But they do have great banter with each other, and I did really like both characters. Costner's character's really grizzled, and both of these guys are technically in retirement. I mean, Harrelson's character is impoverished at the time, the beginning of the movie, but they're both very grizzled. They've lived a long career, a grueling career, and Costner kind of displays it in this very sort of grizzled way, whereas Harrelson's character is really sort of just tortured and worn out. And they play well with each other. They have kind of fun at each other's expense, which is fun to watch. But what I need to tell you is that do not expect an action movie with this. Now, while I did find it very enjoyable, it is very slow. This is an investigation story. This is about two ex-Texas Rangers at a time when Texas Rangers were not outlawed, but had been disbanded, brought out of retirement on the down low, as they used to say back in the day, to hunt down Bonnie and Clyde. And one element about the movie that I found really interesting was the juxtaposition between sort of the G-men doing the dragnet thing and just the roadblocks and just the mass manhunt for Bonnie and Clyde, opposed to sort of this two-man operation with a lot of experience and knowledge on the hunt. In fact, the movie is just as much about the upper law enforcement trying to roadblock or railroad stop these ex-Rangers from completing their mission as it is for the Rangers to catch Bonnie and Clyde. And do not expect to really see Bonnie and Clyde in this movie. This movie is not about them. If you want to see Bonnie and Clyde, Netflix is adding it April 1st, which is great timing. It's a good companion. And that's one thing to say about this movie, whereas the classic Bonnie and Clyde movie with Warren Beatty is really, really just a wonderful piece of cinema. Incredible editing. It's just really, really well put together. The Highwaymen is a good movie. It's not nearly as great as the classic Bonnie and Clyde, but it's good enough that it makes a good companion to that movie as you get to see the other side of it. Now, another thing that I really liked about the movie is it really showed a lot of different sides of things. It showed sort of like the support a lot of the public had for Bonnie and Clyde. They viewed them as this like romantic outlaws, but then it showed the way law enforcement looked at them as these ruthless killers that were slaughtering law enforcement officers. And then also the struggle that these Rangers had in preparing to knowingly take someone's life. There's a couple of scenes that are really tense. There is one pretty decent action sequence around the middle of the movie, but do not expect much of that. It is a slow movie. It is a casual watch, more or less, but I enjoyed it mainly because I like the cast. I like the setting. I love the aesthetic, and this is a beautiful movie. They're on these old roads with these old Fords. It's a beautiful setting, and it even though it is kind of just barren Texas flat landscape for a lot of it, it looks so good on camera. And so I just enjoyed spending the 2 hours, and this movie is over 2 hours just by a little bit, but I enjoyed spending the time in this universe, sort of like hopping in the time machine and going back. I'm not necessarily big on period pieces by a rule or anything, but there are certain periods that I really like, and this is definitely one of them. So I'm a little more partial to this movie than I think a lot of people will be. In fact, if you're not interested in the story, you don't like Costner or Woody Harrelson in particular, you're not partial to the time period, if there's none of those major elements that really intrigue you, then this movie really may not have anything for you. It is good. It's well put together. There's not a lot of flaws in it, other than the fact that it's fairly flat. And it's from the same director as The Blind Side, so it is a capable director, but what I have to say is, it seems to me that this is kind of the most heavily produced movie Netflix has put out. Not that that's a bad thing, but there's not really any risks being taken. However, there is some gore in it. The handful of times that you see some carnage, it was surprisingly bloody, but that does serve the story well. It works out really well. And again, it was really well put together, entertaining. I recommend it. In fact, it's going to be on my very soon upcoming list of the top 20 gangster movies you can currently watch on Netflix, where I'm also going to teach you how to make that sauce from The Godfather. So be sure to stay tuned for that later in the week. But I will keep making reviews on Netflix original movies just like this one, as long as you keep watching them. But thanks for checking this one out, and you will see me on the next one. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so a number of ways. You can become a Patreon supporter like one of these fine people. You can follow the Amazon link and just do your normal Amazon shopping, or take a look at some of my recommendations for Blu-ray deals, or check out the Teespring store. I designed all the t-shirts that you will see there. But whatever you decide to do, likes, comments, and shares are always appreciated. But again, you'll see me on the next one.